Among the new arrivals were also those who did not come voluntarily.
I've been waiting.
Louisiana was part of the triangle of trade between North America, Europe, and West Africa that began in the 1700s.
The nature of the slave trade during colonial times was mostly the story of the Middle Passage. The two main waves during French and Spanish colonial times, one entailed about 5,000 victims who survived, and that was in the 1720s during French colonial times, and they disproportionately came from the Senegambia region. There were many others, but this next major wave was in the 1780s during Spanish colonial time, and they tended to come from the Spanish colonies in Africa, which tended to be the Bight of Benin and the Congo region. And it's a big mistake to think of them as just Africans or just West Africans. They're really as varied in their ethnicity and their cultures as other groups coming under their own volition.
Cooperative tribal leaders in Africa profited by providing men, women, and children to be bound in bondage.
On the coast of Africa, people being held in cells to be transported over the Atlantic. The purpose of the ship was to transport as many people as possible. As people are getting sick, people are dying. There's a very brutal legacy with the transatlantic slave trade and that journey across the Atlantic.
The slave trade became an established part of the Louisiana economy, and the practice was regulated in Europe by a code of laws known as the Code Noir, or the Black Code.
Code Noir is a group of laws put in place by the French to govern mostly enslaved people, but black people more generally. These things restrict the movement of enslaved people, how many enslaved people can gather at any given point in time. They also demand that you convert enslaved people to Catholicism. And so you end up with this very large black population of Catholics.
Thus the ultimate irony, teaching Christianity to those imprisoned by human slavery.